I'm very pleased to have on the phone with me Miss Terry Hawkins. Terry, how are you?
I'm great, and how are you today, Frank?
I am just fine.
Awesome.
Terry, you're coming to Charleston for an event tomorrow. That'd be Friday, down at the Citadel, sponsored by the Low Country Business Network and the Buy SC campaign of the South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce. It's called your Savvy Entrepreneur Tour.
The Savvy Entrepreneur Tour, that's correct.
All right, well, so let's give everybody a little background about you. You have quite an outstanding bio, so walk us through it.
Well, I worked a lot in the corporate world, so I was able to really, I worked my way into working with Phil Knight at Nike. I worked with Lee Iacocca. I worked with professional basketball, football players. I used to work a great deal with helping people come from their hopes into their dreams and have a very, transitional life sometimes into business for the athletes. Help leaders, help people turn from being managers into leaders so their dreams get up, and that was pretty much it. It's what I did for many years.
It's not that simple. You were quite successful at it.
I was extremely successful at it, and I'm very blessed with that. I've always felt like, the more blessed you are, the more you need to give, and that's been a huge thing for me is to be sure that I'm in a position right now. That's why I'm back doing what I'm doing right now. I retired, when I was just 40 years old, and I just started getting really, tense about the fact that all these entrepreneurs were like spending their last dime for a big dream instead of actually enjoying the amazing process of being an American able to be an entrepreneur. So I'm all into saving America one entrepreneur at a time. I'm all into that.
Well, we're working with the Association for Economic Enterprise Opportunity and trying to really promote the true micro businesses in this state and trying to get them more technical assistance and lending. And that's really what you're talking about helping. You're helping those people who want to start a business or have very small one and want to grow it.
I really am. I could easily work with the people that already had kind of made it. And it's a challenge to work with people who haven't yet because we're dealing with a certain level of fear and a certain level of, not knowing exactly where to go or how to go. And a lot of hit and miss happens with entrepreneurs. So I kind of got upset about, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, I started seeing, that so many entrepreneurs were having to give up their dreams, and I just don't want them to have to do that. So I thought, well, let's see if I can really help the beginning, the intermediate entrepreneurs. I know I can help them. The question is whether or not, they want that help, and I think they do.
Okay. But you also have another personal story, reading your bio here, about how you had some physical problems back when you were a child.
Well, I actually was an athlete, and I'm the youngest of 9 children and the only girl, so I'm the baby, and I have 8 older brothers. So I grew up to be an athlete, and I played ball, and it was my ticket to college. And I was an All-American, I was doing great, and I was in a car accident that left me paralyzed, a contralateral paraplegic right arm, left leg. And that paralysis basically destroyed all my dreams. A coach stepped in, and to make a story really short, she stepped in, did an amazing visioning with me, and although all doctors said there's no way I would ever be able to use my arm and leg again, 10 months after this coach stepped in, I was able to use my arm again, and that launched my career of speaking to people to teach them the power of the mind and how you can actually create the life you want no matter what anyone else says.
Okay, well, very good. Well, this sounds like an exceptional tour and opportunity for some small businesses in South Carolina, not only if you're in the Charleston area, but you have time to register to go down and meet Terry Hawkins and hear from her firsthand. You can go to www.lowcountrybiz, that's B-I-Z, lowcountrybiz.biz, and register. You still got time to go on down there. It starts at 9 tomorrow morning at the Citadel. Okay, so what will people, what actually happens on your tour in one of these things?
Well, you know how entrepreneurs have a dream, and they really have a desire to make that come true. I put feet to that. So I'm the practical as well as the emotional support kind of person, but really the practical person that helps them just take away all the stuff that looks like pie in the sky and really see their dream, really see how their business can happen. So they're going to get they're going to get practical stuff. They're going to get excited because there's going to be a lot of doubts that disappear. They're going to be in a position basically to leave saying, now I get it. Now I get what's kept me from it, and now I get what I need to do. Some people are going to be willing to do that work, and love it, and others are going to say, you know what, I'm going back to a 9-to-5 because that's not what I want to do.
Well, isn't that the truth, though, about people who aspire to be an entrepreneur, that sometimes, they may think that they like something, but they're not willing to do all the things necessary to have that independence, because it's not all just simply doing what you think you do best. There's all the other things that go along with being a business person.
I agree with you completely. Absolutely, Frank. There's not a doubt in my mind that sometimes there's a lot of people that it's better to have a life where you have a job working for someone else. But on the other hand, there's a lot of people who really, really want to make their business dream happen, and those are the ones that need to do it. But I agree with you completely. There's some people, my father never belonged being out doing his own business, and he had a wonderful life in a career within a company. That's fine.
Yeah, raising 9 kids successfully.
Yeah.
That's an accomplishment in and of itself.
Absolutely.
But there is a point that we have to acknowledge, that the way really for people, if they want to accumulate wealth, is to become a successful entrepreneur.
Oh, and this is the perfect time. Down economy, all 3 of my businesses that soared, I started in the down economy. All 3. And everybody told me you couldn't do it. It's the perfect time to start it. You just have to not fall for the pie in the sky, get rich quick, tomorrow you're going to make $5 million. Now, can it happen in America? Yes, it can. But don't plan for that, because if you plan for that, then you're not there to build the solid foundation so that you really can have that kind of life that you want with your entrepreneurship.
I'm talking with Terry Hawkins. She is bringing her tour, her Savvy Entrepreneur Tour, to Charleston tomorrow at 9 o'clock down at the Citadel, and you still have time to register to come down and hear her presentation, because, it's not a short presentation. This is like 9 to 3.
It is 9 to 3 because I'm a coach. I'm more like a coach. Having been a high-level athlete, I'm just very much a coach. I know everybody uses that word now, but I need people to get on the court, make a mistake, get off the court, let me coach them, get back on the court. That takes time. I'm not someone that's going to get up there and talk at people. People are going to be involved. I want them to leave having actually changed their mind and know what to do. And that doesn't come from listening to me yaddle on. It comes from people actually making mistakes, trying things out, working through it, etc. Yeah, absolutely. It takes time.
So you break the audience down after a while into like work groups or something?
Well, sometimes I go with it. I go with what is needed, if what we need to do, where we need to go. I've been speaking since I survived my paralysis when I was 19 years old, and I've really honed it into something where I can have 5,000 people in the audience, and every single one of them feel I did one-on-one with them. That's part of my magic. We all have a magic, and that's part of mine. So there's all kinds of things that I do to make sure that people have an experience where they change their mind.
Do they have to take some notes as far as do a little work plan while they're there, while they're sitting in this session?
Well, sometimes, for example, sometimes I teach them how. One of the biggest things that I teach people is that people hate networking. So they think, that I don't want to do that kind of thing. Well, I teach them actually how for it to be not only a lot of fun, but to get a ton of business doing it. But I teach them a whole new kind of retro, kind of very new way for them to actually get business tomorrow. And, it's just it's very interactive. We're moving a lot. We're not sitting in our seats all the time. You're dealing with other people. You're making mistakes. It's just a really alive kind of event. It's not something where you're going to sit down and have me talk about myself and I'm going to tell you how great I am.
Okay, well, and this, of course, is what you just talked about, networking, because it's sponsored by the Low Country Business Network, as well as the Buy a Seat campaign of South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce. All right, well, this is very good. So you're not going to go in there and show them some type of slides on here's how you do a budget. Not
at all. Yeah. For example, I had a big audience yesterday, and someone asked me the question. They said, "How do you get an agent to get out there and get your book out there? And how do I get an agent so that? And how do I find a really great agent?" And I said, "Well, first, you get your book so it's really already making a lot of money. You do all the work to make sure that it's really in a great place. You make sure that you're already making so much money with it that you're saying to yourself, do I need an agent?" That's when an agent's willing to come on. And they're like, people were shocked by that. That wasn't their dream. That's not what they wanted. So I let people know. But then I do turn around and tell them how they can make a lot of money with a book. So things like that. Whatever comes up is what I want people to work with. I usually start most of my event, not maybe start it, but I'm usually in my event at some place. I ask people, tell me what it is that you need from me. I get all that information, and I try to give as much of that to them as I can.
All right, very good. Well, this all sounds great. But it is just it's a 1 day or 2